Good evening, guys. Welcome to another session. I say session, another live. How are you this evening? Welcome to Spirit Whisperers Live with myself, Charlotte Underwood. I'm an international medium and paranormal investigator. I've been in it over 25 years. We've got my lovely co-host, Shelley Smith. How are you, my darling? Are you well?
I'm good, Charlotte. Thank you. Hope
Lovely.
everybody's
And
okay.
Shelley, say again, sorry, darling.
And I hope everybody else is okay.
Yeah, I do too. And Shelley is also a paranormal investigator. And I have my lovely Sam Mizalowski, who is also an amazing investigator. Welcome, girls. How are you, Sam? Are you all right?
Yep, all good here.
Lovely, lovely. Now, we'd like to mention that we have... Hello, Matthew. That was very quick of you coming on there. That was very quick. Just got off the phone. We have our lovely guest this evening. We have the guys from S.P.I.G, we have Rigger, we have David, and we have Liam. Welcome to you guys.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
And that is Scotland's Paranormal Investigation Group. And we have the lovely Lee and Sarah from S.V.P.R, which is Spirit Vision Paranormal Research. How are you guys?
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Good. Now, you'll have to bear with me, guys, because my volume for some reason isn't the best, and I don't know how to. Just bear with me. Let me see if I can. No, it's at the top. So just if I don't hear you, I'll just say, can you just say it again? But I should be all right. So I'm going to start off by inviting our lovely Sam to start this evening with some questions.
Well, it's good to be back after a couple of weeks off. So
I know, it's fantastic to have you back, honey.
Oh, it's good to be back. My questions are for Lee and Sarah. What have you guys been up to? I've been looking at some of your content on your YouTube. Could you tell me what you've been doing?
We've not really done what we've been investigating for the last filming, probably for the last 6 months, haven't we? We haven't really put anything out on the YouTube. We've been spending we spent 4 nights in a supposedly witch's house, and then we just spent all over Christmas and beginning of the new year in a castle, didn't we? So yeah, not much. Just we've not been doing it as much as we were before COVID, because obviously with COVID everything got a little bit up. So but we're still going, aren't we?
Yeah.
I'm currently editing the back end of last year's The Witch's House, so that should be out soon.
Whereabouts is that, Sarah?
It's in Wales.
In the middle of a forest, with nothing round it. Not.
So what because we're paranormal and we do urban exploring, we dip our toe in a bit of the urban side. We know loads of people in the local area. So somebody contacted us who's a friend from Manchester, and he said, well, we sit in one night talking to Lee on Instagram.
He's a photographer, and he's a photographer. He's not really into paranormal.
No, and he sat one night talking to Lee, and he said, oh, I've got somewhere for you. I heard a load of noises if you've got the ghoulies to go. And we were like, yeah, we'll go. Give us the address. We'll spend the whole night. He was like, no, you won't spend the whole night.
He went in the day and left, and he went, you won't spend the night, and we did 3, didn't we?
Well, 4, didn't we, in the end? 4 nights. Wow. Yeah.
Sarah and Lee, could you just, for those that haven't heard about urban exploring before, could you explain that to them so that obviously for the ones that haven't heard of it?
Yeah, so urban exploring is finding old abandoned farms, prisons, asylums, hospitals, anywhere that's abandoned across the UK. I mean, you can do it across Europe as well, but we just do across the UK. The reason we choose that is, well, originally we chose those locations because we can do a lot more because they're free. And you can enter them as long as you're not breaking into anywhere. If there's a window open or a door open, legally, in our country, you can go in as long as you're
America, you can't, can you?
It's different, yeah. So, but the reason we now do that is because we've done paid locations before, and we find that the ones that are abandoned and that hardly any paranormal teams go in, or most of the places we go, there's nobody's done a paranormal investigation there. And like we say, we spend 3 nights, even more at locations, we get activity, don't we?
Seem to get more in the lesser known, like asylums and that, than we do like if we go, say, the Ancient Ram, or it's crazy. And all the difference between the two is like insanity.
Do you think that's because they've been done so much and these places haven't?
I do.
100%.
I also think I'm a great believer in not knowing the history or anything obviously with your well-known places like the ancient Ram, we've all heard the stories. We all know who's there, who supposedly haunted it. But we don't have any of that with the urban side, and we don't do any history checking until after we've investigated for that very reason. But yes, I do believe it's because when we go there, I mean, it takes us probably two of the 3 nights to...
Yeah, the first night's quiet, and the second night it picks up a bit, and by the third night, in the asylums anyway, the couple that we've been have been good on
night, third night. So yeah, I do believe it's because there's not many, or like nobody's ever investigated them, you know. So
it's quite nice, isn't it, when you come across spirit that are so inquisitive because they've never had anyone there before, so they're sneaking in and they're like looking and what's going on, they want to know.
That's it. And if you look at some of our videos, we always say on the first night, it's we all feel, and all the activity tends to be outside the room, and it's almost like every night it's just getting a bit closer and a bit closer and a bit closer. It's strange, isn't it?
Until we did that asylum, I didn't believe in it. For 3 years, well, the 3 years of spirit vision, we were doing it for a few years before. I was calling BS on it, because for what I was seeing and what I could explain, the majority of stuff that were like people in the group would go, oh my God, and I'd think, wait a minute, just slow down a minute, and probably explain like the majority of it. However, that asylum we went to has left me absolutely.
Yeah. Although
you were an unbeliever, weren't you? You didn't actually believe at first, so you needed to, like, it had to be proven to you that there was something there.
Yeah. And I do believe that you have to have a skeptic on your team, because I do think it's helped us in the times that we've kind of not lost our heads, but kind of been a bit wrapped up in it. And he's taken a step back and gone, hang on a minute, it's the wind, or, you know, something that you can explain. You've gone, oh, right, okay, now that makes sense. But the asylum, I can't explain it. Even today, it's been nearly 12 months.
It's my head. I keep saying this. It really hits my brain, because I want to explain it like logically, like naturally, and I can't. There's no way I can, because there's 4 cameras showing me different. There's 4 cameras locked up on all directions that say nobody else was in that building. So
yeah. So for people who haven't seen
my arms are standing up. You see that?
People who haven't seen it,
there's a camera.
Oh yeah.
We have I don't want to say rock, but I do want to say rock. So we're in this abandoned building in one of the wards. We had our 18-year-old daughter with at the time, which is the first time she's been a proper investigation with us. She's done obviously stuff with us as a family. And it's the 3rd night we were there, and there's one door into this ward, and we're all kind of split up between the kind of like dividing walls, and I'm kind of a little bit out on my own, and they're all sort of to this side, and something bangs. Now all the windows are blocked up with wood, and it sounded
sealed building. It's
sealed. Yeah. And one of our cameras is in the doorway pointing straight down the corridor, so we know nobody was in the building, at least down that corridor anyway. I mean, we did check afterwards and there's nobody there. It sounded like either kids, because we do get kids that look about if they know people are in buildings, or security banging to get us to come out. And there was this almighty bang. I ran back, which is really not like me at all.
She's holding Sarah's holding the camera, and she goes, oh shit, someone's just walked past my camera, and I'm like, yeah, okay. And then as she finishes that sentence, bang, out of nowhere. I really thought security were outside, they'd caught us and they'd whack the torch on the thingy to say like, get out. And
that's what it sounded like. And all
we
4
froze
of
for
us
10 minutes, didn't we?
Yeah, what you don't see in our footage, which I actually keep saying I might actually play in real time, is we just stand there frozen. Jessica, our daughter's obviously very scared. We don't know what's going on, and as parents it's quite difficult, because obviously you want to protect her, but then you're not really sure what's going on, and it was a bit, you know. But then when we got home that night and we played it on the TV, not only do you hear the bang, you hear whatever it is bounce off along the concrete.
You hear the rock, you hear it hit the wood, because I kept saying that's somebody outside, but when we played it back straight away on the telly when we got in, you do actually hear it hit the wood, and then you hear it go bang, 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 bounce on the concrete inside. Yeah. And that when I heard that, then that just totally changed my.
Because we're all on camera, we can all see each other in this room. Weird. And even today, we'll go on dog walks, and even now, 12 months down the road,
still talk
about it and can't figure it out.
Do you think, Sarah, that mentally affected you a little bit with how it was around you, the energy?
Not really. for me, I was just kind of glad that we got something that, because I kept saying to Lee that when you get something, I hope that you're with all of us and that you can kind of, because your mind sort of not.
So we all see it, because I would talk myself out of it. I would find a way of.
Yeah. So me and Rocky in Wootton Hall the year before had seen a shadow figure, and we were both standing straight on, both straight face, seeing a shadow figure go across, and he didn't see it. He was looking down at a camera. And I kept saying to him, when you see something like that, I hope you're with one of us or all of us so that you can't talk yourself out of it. Your mind's not playing tricks. I wouldn't say it mentally affected me. I think as a parent, it bothered me because I can see that my daughter, she's 18, but, the babies too, aren't they? She was struggling.
What she's not telling you as well, the bays where they were up to the, so Rocky's filming me and my daughter. Sarah's got her camera walking around saying something's filming. There's a camera filming all of us. Then there's a camera locked off facing down the corridor. Yeah. And where Rocky's filming, these bays go up to the ceiling. So even if you say, well, maybe somebody could have thrown it from right down the corridor, which would be one hell of a shot if you could actually get it past
There's a gap like that from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Thing to the ceiling.
So where it come from?
We've had all sorts. We've gone from, was it something falling from the ceiling, but the force that it's thrown at and the way it bounces back? No, can't be that. There's somebody down the corridor? No, can't be that. We've gone through everything.
And I'm going, that could have took our head off, and you're going, yeah, but seriously, if it really wanted to throw it at us, it would have thrown it at us. And it wasn't nowhere near us, it was to the left. It was way to the left of us. Yeah,
the last time we spoke, guys, it was Sharon on our team. She's our medium, and she came on and she was saying to us about your daughter, about her being like an empath, and she was attracting kind of like a beacon, basically, for spiritual activity to happen. We haven't really looked into that because she
finished that night. She said after that happened, and she's looking at me, and I'm like, I'm as shocked as she is.
We can't explain.
And all I wanted to do was get her out of there. Yeah, you've got to stay there because that's what you're there for. I was like,
never had anything like that happen before. We've had a bang before in an abandoned cottage, but it was in a different room. And as great as it was, there's cameras on us, and we try and keep cameras on us all the time, but we can't keep a camera in every room, so we don't know what it was. We can't say it's paranormal. Yes, it's a bang, but.
We never say anything's paranormal anyway. No. We just show you what we've got and go, you decide.
But Jessica is saying, I think I might want to come out with you again because it has made her more curious now, hasn't it? But I said I don't
She's not been out since, has she? She quit that night, and then she's been asking like the last few like months, as she's been saying, well, where are you going next then? Well, maybe I should come with you. But then I've got Rocky on the other hand saying, I don't know, because last time she was that scared that maybe it's not a good idea. She's 18 and she wants to come back and have another go. But for a few months she won't go in anyway.
The other thing that we don't want to do is, because we filmed 3 or 4 nights, and it probably sounds a bit awful really, but if the first night she has a bad experience and she's on camera and then she doesn't come back for however many nights, and something happens, it's very difficult for us to say to our viewers, but honestly, there's nobody behind the scenes doing anything, because the question will always be asked, well, where was the girl that was with you
on the first
night? So I always say to Jess is, well, if you come in, you've got to commit to all 4. I can't, because we do try to control it as much as we can. I mean, listen, if people want to say that about us anyway, they're going to say it, but I do try and keep it on an even keel if we can.
Do you ground and protect?
Yes, we do.
Okay, because there are certain, if you want to, we can chat about it later, but because of her age, she's still like a sponge at the moment, because obviously she's only 18. So there are ways that we can protect her a little bit more, which I can give you info on. Just so she feels okay when she's going out.
Okay, yeah, that's something. I'd be interested in.
I don't.
He doesn't.
I don't, because like I say, up to that rock throne, I was like, I'm on the fence. I'm not buying it until someone physically stands in front of me or walks past me, and that's just me.
You did on the last one.
That rock.
You did on the last one
crazy.
In the witch's house. You did.
What?
You grounded yourself in the witch's house.
I just said you can't follow me home, or you can't do this, or you can't. I set boundaries. I don't ground myself. I don't even know how to ground myself. They do before every investigation. And Rocky does, but I don't. I'm too busy setting up and.
Yeah, and I think, you know, there's lots of opinions out there, but it's each to their own, isn't it? You know, and it's for me, it's as a medium and as somebody that's connected to spirit for 41 years, it's very important, especially when investigating, that you have some form of protection in a way of grounding, or you place protection upon yourself. It can just be a prayer, but it has to be a personal prayer, not the Lord's Prayer, because that's said too much. You know, because you have no idea what you are messing with if you do not connect to spirit the way I do, or other mediums do, or, you know, spiritual people. It can be very dangerous at times, and I do tell people this, because you don't know. So, but on the upper, it's everyone's own decision. Everyone's own decision, you know. So you can either go and put something on, or you can go and not, and then if something happens, suffer the consequences. So I always say to people, you know, if you're going on an investigation, whichever way, it's important that you are protected, even if it's just protection through here. Okay. And I'm going to say to you, Ellie, you do need to put some on. I'm going to say that to you, my lovely, because I know you're skeptical, but you're also a little bit sponge-like, as I call it.
We've always just left him to his own, because, I mean, I've done it because I just think...
I always say you don't have permission for this and you don't have permission for that, but that's only to follow me home. Do whatever you want. Touch me, pull me, pull me.
Oh.
You go mental,
Sorry.
don't you?
Sorry, guys, the sound has gone very robotic. I can't hear, so I'm just going to have to come out and come back in, I think.
Right, okay, Charlotte.
Yeah, I want me a minute.
That's fine. So what I'll do is, listen, Rick, I'm going to come to you for a wee question then. Well, really just for the viewers to get to know your team. You've got David, you've got Liam and Kaylee. So let's hear how you got all started.
Right, so I'm Rick, as Shelley and Sam know. I've been at this before and stuff, so I took upon myself to start S.P.I.G in March last year. I was going out and doing some paranormal stuff like myself and my pals and stuff, and maybe with other teams, but they kind of started getting a bit carried away and believing in things that wasn't there, and it was kind of going down the money road, and I was like, nah. So I thought, I'll take it upon myself. I'll start S.P.I.G, started the Facebook page, advertised for positions, gradually got some investigators in, doing kind of small locations, i.e. an old farmhouse that's not too far away. As time went on, we gradually get bigger, so we expanded to 6 people, but that's including it was 7 including myself, so 6 investigators and myself. But we're having too many people in the group. It was causing animosity, and he said, she said, all this carry on. It turned out that some of the investigators were going out with other teams and working along with other teams without trying to get a collaboration as a collective, as a full team, to go out with other teams. It was a case of, I'm going to go out with this other team and I'm not going to say it, which I don't really agree on. I think if you're, it's all in one working with different teams as a group, but not to leave a group behind their back to go and work along with another team. If you want to be part of a team, you work as a team. That's the whole point of being a team.
Yep.
So again, as time went on, had to release these people. I started from scratch again. I started from absolute scratch. So I thought, right, this isn't worth it. This was maybe in a period of 5 months or something. So I was so close just to finishing, just to stop the Facebook page. I thought I'll just maybe go out and investigate myself. I also like urban exploring, which Lee and Sarah was talking about. Well, I like history. I like going to old abandoned places and seeing the history. Just even the brickwork. I enjoy it. But again, I thought, no, I went so far, so I'm going to bring in other people. So I advertised again for investigators. Yeah.
Oh.
That's what we need to talk about after. This is why I'm telling you about protection. It's so important.
So I thought I'll run a competition, and out my own pocket I paid for like hoodies and stuff like that. I got Liam was actually one of the competition winners, but I've known Liam for a couple of years due to work. He has a workmate. And there was another male that won. So I got them out. Straight away, Liam messaged me after it. Absolutely loved that. First time we really experienced it. Loved it. We went in an abandoned castle, all dark, all the eerie vibes, and also your mind can play tricks. So I was trying to explain what the equipment's for, and don't just think automatically it's paranormal. You know what I mean? You've got to kind of take into consideration you're in an abandoned location. It could be wind, it could be mice, it could be bats. So you try to run for that, and then you'll kind of go to the paranormal side of things. So I spoke to Liam, I brought him in. David, he's seen the position I was looking for. He gave me a message. I got him out as well. Kaylee in the team, she was with another team, but she was coming out with the other female. They were basically collaborating with us, me, David, and Liam. They kind of went a separate way. Kaylee said, "Look, I'm more willing to join S.P.I.G." And I said, "That's absolutely fine." It was just, I knew straight away that the whole fours were getting, just for the get-go, we understood each other. We all know how each other work. We do our own separate things. David does EVP side of things. Liam will do his thing. Kaylee will do her thing. We usually send Kaylee in her own vigil because she quite enjoys it, but I quite enjoy her seeing a wee bit scared, But just, we've been together now for 6 months. I've run about 6 months, and the places we've been to, we've done a whole load of private investigations of people messaging us, "Do you want to come out?" And these people that ask us to come out, they'll say to us, "How much do you want? Here, there's money." And we will not take one single penny, because I've always believed, and I'm sure Liam and David and Kaylee's the exact same thing. And I think I've spoke to this as well when we've been out together. I'm a strong believer in, if you go down the road of private investigations and you start charging people money, then the passion for the paranormal is gone. Your passion is money, the paranormal's second. So I've always said I will not take a penny. We'll put our own fuel, we'll spend for our own. If we're having to stay somewhere, we'll spend that. Fuel, all adds up, but we do it for the sheer love and the passion. And I think that's how S.P.I.G is, I don't want to say getting big, but kind of getting noticed a bit more.
Yep.
Because even like regulars on the live and stuff, they know what we're all about. We're not going to say, "Oh, this is paranormal," when it wasn't paranormal. We'll put in and stuff like that. But that's where we are now. But I think we're taking a break for a couple of weeks. David's going away next week. But we'll definitely be back. We've got some locations as well that we're going to go to. We've got a big one in Dublin in September that we're looking to go to.
Yep.
I think we're trying to head down south as well. I've got, was it 3 days ago, I got a message from a man asking if he'd be willing to do a documentary with him on paranormal.
Fantastic.
Everything paranormal, do a documentary. He'll come out and video and stuff like that and get it up and stuff like that. So, but honestly, I'm so glad that I just gave it a second go, because as I said when I sent the bio, it was like I would be sitting here and saying, "What if I would never have met yous?" And the amount of friendships built as well.
Yep.
It's not just a case of we'll go out and work with a team and then that's the end. We always keep in contact and how's things, send footage over, send photos, try and get a second opinion. But the amount of people that we've met, even just with, also I know Liam free work, right? But if I never gave it a second go, I would never have met David. I would never have met Kaylee. I would never have met yous.
No.
You know what I mean? You would never have met me. And then but I'm glad I took that opportunity. And I honestly couldn't be more happy with the people that I've got in the team. But when we're advertising for another person to bring in as well. So.
Myself and Sam, we've been in investigations with you now, well, 3 times, 3 different investigations we've been. And every time we go, what a great bunch. And we all, I mean, for all we're doing investigations, and that's quite serious work to do it, we all get on so well because the energy that you guys have got is fantastic, and it is like a family.
We just all gel. We just all gel like that. It's like, we don't need to worry about who each other is or anything like that. We know exactly what everybody else is doing.
It's so important that you have that connection as well when you've got that, like you say, that gel. It's so important because it especially around spirit as well, because they pick up on that. So with that gel, you will get more activity as well, because they can see the where your energies are, and especially joining, so it makes it a lot bigger. So yeah, it's fantastic.
It's like,
some of us have gelled more than. Oh, sorry, Digger.
Sorry, Shelley. I've been in teams where there's like the lead investigator or the founder, so to speak, and they try and be dead demanding, like, you go and do this, you go and do that. No, I asked you to do this. I could not see myself like that. Fair enough, I'm the founder and this and that. I put a lot of hard work in it, but I'll never say, David, go and do this, Liam, go and do that. We all make choices. If it's something that we've agreed to do, we'll do it. You know what I mean? If it's like Liam will say, I'm going to go, right, on you go, David will say, right, on you. I don't want to be perceived as that person, like, because then it can cause no hatred, but then it can be like, you're not enjoying it as much. So we'll get a laugh. There's stages where we'll get a laugh and stuff, but we know when to take it serious. And that's the main thing. A laugh in the car. You know yourself, Shirley, like Sam, we'll get a laugh together, but when it comes down to the paranormal, then that's when you become serious. But we all, and I always say it's no my team. Like David and Liam will say, but sure, but it's our team. You know, we all put in hard work. Even just simple things like sharing out the group and all that stuff. It's not just me, does it? Liam, David,
like Lois has just done there. Well done, Lois.
But it's always going to be our team. It'll never just be my team. It's always our team.
That's right. And
like
see,
sorry, that's what it's like. And I will never understand. We keep ourselves to ourselves. I will never understand why in the paranormal community there is so much arguing. There is so many sort of dictators that want to be the head of the team, the leader. You know,
been there, done that.
Been there, done that. I never understand it. I can't understand it because it goes based on energy, and if your team's not happy, then it's never going to work. But paranormal community as a whole, we found everybody wants to bicker and fight, whereas
or be the next Ghost Avengers, or
the next Ghost. We should all be putting our heads together and saying, we got this. Oh my God, so did we, you know, find out what works. That's how we move on in the field. But but energy is a big thing. And like you say, you've got to all gel. We get most of our stuff when we're
not even asking.
Having a bit of a laugh
when
and
we're
a bit
sat
of
down,
a
relaxing, chatting, just chilling, discussing something and then call it.
That's why I reduced my team down, because it's like I've got myself and my team co-captain, as I call him, Liam, and it's just me and him, and it's well, there's other people coming in shortly, but you know, it works that way, like you and Sarah, you know. Also, you trust each other. You know, you guys with to see, because at the end of the day, we're all doing the same thing. And there's no simple. It doesn't matter how long you have been doing paranormal investigating.
You are bettering yourself, and that's something now. And I've never ever said this publicly because I don't like to say this, and I don't want any more trouble. But one of the comments to us were, "What do you know about the paranormal? You're just two nobodies from S.P.I.G." And I thought, oh my God, that one sentence just about sums you up, you know, because everybody was just a nobody from somewhere. Everybody's started.
And we'd been doing it a year at that point, and we've been doing it for 2 years before that. But to get labelled that was just like
it's irrelevant. But that mentality just told me everything. But we've come across so many people that want to fall out. And I just don't get it. I really will not understand it. I mean, we're trying to look into more of the mechanics side of stuff now, like how stuff works, why is it us, what's happening, you know. But
like a REM pod going off, just because a REM pod goes off, don't mean that's a spirit. So I've just bought a piece of equipment and bringing to the
Shelley knows all about that.
That'll tell us exactly what waves, what signals, whatever's floating around in the air. It not only will register it, it'll tell me exactly. Like if a phone signal comes from across the road, it will tell me that REM pod's gone off because of that phone signal across the road, or Wi-Fi, or any electrical or radio waves.
The real sad thing is, you do have, I think, in the paranormal, the people that want to be the next S.P.I.G, the ones that want to be famous on TV, and the ones that want to make money from this, and that's the biggest thing. And like you've just said, is once you start making money from something, You are no longer doing it because you may want to find answers, or
doesn't become a hobby then, does
a
it?
job. It doesn't become a passion, and a little bit like Ghost Adventures.
Comes a business.
I so genuine. They started off. They had these experiences, and then all of a sudden, the pressure is on. Then you've got to keep producing. You've got to keep producing. So there's those people, and then there's the people that just want the likes and the comments and the subscribers and the and we don't get mixed up in any of it because cannot be bothered with it, because we should be sitting down. We should be saying what works. We've had numerous times we've spoke to teams and they've gone, we've had this exact experience, exact same conditions, and it's interesting. That's what I find interesting. That's what I want to know, paranormal investigators, is what have you had that I could cross-reference with my stuff and we can move on. Not, you're jealous because we've seen a shadow figure.
What a jealousy.
Yeah, it's totally wrong, isn't it? It's totally wrong.
For me, Sarah, it's like when people say, I like you've just said, I've heard people say that to people, and it's not nice. But the thing is, what does paranormal mean? If you ask these people what paranormal actually means, do they actually know?
No.
When they're saying to you, what do you know about the paranormal? Well, the word paranormal means just unexplained. So it doesn't, it's not just spirit.
Absolutely.
And this is the thing. Yeah, and it's like you do, unfortunately, obviously I've worked with lots of different teams from all around the world, and it's very, very similar with how people see it. And you cannot quantify things to do with spirit unless you have truly connected to spirit. You will experience things like you guys, you will experience things, but you cannot truly quantify unless you connect directly to the spirit. And that's one of the things that I do, because I do transfiguration mediumship, where the actual spirit, not my guide, will step inside me. My voice changes, my attitude changes, my whole demeanor changes, and they give information that couldn't possibly be known. But then you can also argue that there's everything we do within the paranormal industry, or whatever you want to call it, is always going to be questioned because it's different. And because people can't, it's fantastic. I lovely that you are skeptical, because I'm skeptical. I'm a medium and I'm still skeptical. And I love debunking stuff because it's important, because not everything can be quantified as paranormal, as you say. So going in with that attitude, Lee and Sarah, brilliant, because that's what it needs more of. 100%.
Yeah.
Never change it.
I personally cannot wait to go to the vaults this month.
She's putting me on a lead.
Yeah.
A lead?
I'm putting you on a lead.
Yes, it has. Yeah, I'm just reading
that. Yeah, she's reining me in.
I have to watch what he says
because I speak my mind. I just say as it is, and that's it.
Well, that's a good thing. So you shouldn't have to.
Yeah. Don't you? A lot like my daughter and son will go, oh, you can't say that. You can't say that. Why can't I say that? I was brought up in the 80s.
You know what? I think that in the beginning,
that's what you say.
In the beginning, I was very, very conscious of the fact that people just like to be nasty because they want to be nasty, like keyboard warriors. So, and not so much. I don't really care what people say about me. I really am tough.
Well, you used to stop me.
I really don't care.
Saying things and posting things, and I'd be like, why?
I used to be like, do you know what he does? Right, this really, and I've had to kind of let him go. He's like, when somebody asks for their opinion,
I'll give it
full force, and I'd be like, those guys have spent so many days in there. You could have just been a bit more tactful, so I have kind of had to let you just,
Yeah.
Bless you. Oh, bless you, Lee. David, I'd like to ask you some questions, if that's all right, my lovely. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. So, David, obviously, what is your backstory within the paranormal side of things? What made you actually get into investigating?
Well, it all started off in 2001. I used to watch Colin Fry on TV, and then in 2002, the TV program Most Haunted started, and I decided, well, I'm actually quite interested. I think I would like to try that. So I started my own group. They were called Spirit Finder Scotland, and the group went for about 14 years. And eventually I shut the group down through a lot of people being caught faking stuff, arguing. So then eventually I just started doing investigations with my daughter. then eventually I joined Rigger. And
Oh, bless you.
it's been forward, just going forward.
With your investigating, have you ever experienced anything where you felt spirit or heard them, seen them?
Yeah, I did an investigation in Irvine in Scotland at Ravens Park Asylum, and we were standing in one of the hospital wards in a half circle, and you could feel it, just the atmosphere. It was so like a chill, very cold, and you could hear shuffling. And next minute, I felt something rub against my shoulder. That was the biggest fright I've ever got in my life.
Oh, bless you.
I nearly jumped on top of somebody. It was so frightening. That was the first time I ever came in contact with anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, isn't it? When so when you say obviously you've connected to spirit, because I feel that there's certainly an aspect of you that can connect to spirit. That's why I'm asking you, because I feel like you can. Have you heard spirit?
Yeah, I'll tell you a wee story. Used to do, when we had the team going, we did we went to a psychic night in Paisley, and there was 4 psychics doing platform work, and one of them came up to the table and says to me, he went, "You're clairvoyant, aren't you?" Yeah, he went, "You see spirit when you're out investigation." I went, "Sometimes." Say, but I have, and I've seen it actually in my workplace.
Yeah, you're definitely clairaudient though as well, because you can hear it.
Yeah. I've heard them.
100%. I think with what we've been talking about, and you know, for me personally, we should all be getting together and working together, you know. And I think obviously with what you were saying about people faking things previously, you know, that's a massive no. I'm uber professional when it comes to the investigations, you know, and I think it ruins it for other people, you know.
Yeah.
But I think with your experience so far, is there anywhere that you would absolutely love to go that you haven't been to yet?
As in?
For an investigation.
Oh, you mean a location? Yeah. Alcatraz.
Yay! That's where I want to go as well. It's closed at the minute. We can't go in. Damn it. A bit of San Fran.
Loads of places I'd love to go to.
But would Alcatraz be your first choice?
Oh, that would be, yeah, that would be.
I think we've had lots of chats, and we've said about Waverley Hills, and obviously they're going through what they're going through at the moment. I'm off to Gettysburg in August, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I think with your daughter, do you feel that your daughter connects? Because obviously you said your daughter goes on investigations. Does she connect at all with spirit?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, bless her.
Rigger will vouch for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So she's enjoyed it from a young age then, I take it?
Yeah. She was about 18 months.
Oh.
We had my wife's auntie died, so there was a funeral. We went to the funeral, came back to our house with my mother-in-law, and my daughter was in the hallway, and she came into the living room. She says, "The lady in the hall," and my wife said to her, "What lady?" She went, "Margaret," and that was my wife's auntie's name. So
yeah, they did that, but again, little children, it's mad how much they can connect.
And many a time she's said things to her partner's family about things, and it's been true.
Yeah,
and they didn't know why she knew this.
Oh, bless her. And that's the big thing for me with children, because it's something that I didn't have support as I was, even though it's from both sides of my family, the connection, it wasn't looked at in that way back then, you know, and it was really hard for me as a child growing up. Being different, as they called it then, you know, it's not different. I've learned that now, you know, but I think there should be more out there to help children that are connecting, you know, to help guide them the way they need to go, and to help protect them. And, you know, and I think it's really good, especially with you and Lee and Sarah as well, you know, bringing your children out. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a good thing, because you're teaching them the right way rather than what they see on TV and things, you know. So yeah, hats off to you. I think that's lovely. Shelley, did you want to ask anything?
Well, I'm just going to say, I totally agree with you there, Charlotte. My daughter was just saying 2 days ago, she says, this is a crazy family. She says, you communicate with spirit. If you could investigate and communicate with spirit, Amelia sees spirit, and I dream about talking to the spirits. So she just thinks this is really funny, like, to have a family. So it is good to encourage your children, not to make them scared of it. Just
of course it is.
try and let them understand it.
Carly, because Carly just comes out with dreams that she's had that are relevant to like locations and everything we've been to, which is really, really weird.
I know, she comes out with some fantastic stuff.
Sorry, Ricky, were you trying to say something there? Sorry.
I'll get a habit of butting in. My daughter's 8, and I took her out to it's an old castle ruin about a year ago. But she's got her own S.P.I.G Spirit Box. She's got her own K2. She's got her own S.P.I.G hoodie. Every time I'm investigating at night time, Dad, can I come? And I say, I'll take you out during the day. But she absolutely loves it. Like, she knows how open I am as well. So I think she just wants to follow in Dad's footsteps, sort of thing. Yeah. Dad, I'm going to take S.P.I.G on one day. But I like that, because she's kind of getting the passion that I'm getting. And I don't see it. A lot of people don't agree on it because a young age, and I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. Apart from if you're going to an abandoned location, hazards and
no,
stuff
because
like
at the end of the day, Rigger, it's like you can take a child into a place that needs to be investigated, but we all forget we live in houses, we're going to buildings, they go into schools, they go into hospitals. What happens in all these places? Well, spirit connect. So it's not that there's anything wrong with physically taking them in, because at the end of the day, you're going in with them to protect them as well. You know, so it's a massive thing with me to not just ignore it with children, because they are so open to spirit. They should embrace it so that they're not scared, you know, because it isn't something to be scared of. And that's how, unfortunately, Hollywood have made it into a scary type of thing, you know, and it's not
a way round of investigating. And then they're going to know how to safely do things. If you don't, you know, we've always talked to our kids about, well, they used to 3 and 4, they'd watch Most Daunted.
You bet Fielding screaming like she does, isn't the way to go, is it?
But our kids have always, you know, we've always talked about them. We've always taken them to different places.
I mean, I've worked on paranormal TV shows, but I'm always a stickler for nobody needs to scream on an investigation.
No.
It's absolutely ridiculous, you know.
Why is she doing it? If she's running away screaming, I question why even be there then, if that's the case.
Yeah.
If you be that scared, you that much, you're in the
never run away.
It's some moment when you're like, oh shit, what was that? But you don't physically run.
You go out to investigate, and there is teams there, because I've seen them myself. They'll hear a noise, and then that's it. Investigation is done. We hear a noise, and we are going to go and find what this noise is.
Yeah.
No, we're going to try and communicate with what this is. It might not be paranormal. That's why we'll go as well, to try and debunk. If you're in an abandoned location,
that's exactly why you're there, isn't it? At the end of the day,
the whole point there to communicate. You know what I mean? You don't want to hear something and then, it's time to go home. Ooh.
You sit there for hours on end in the bloody dark waiting for that one noise. You know, that'd be like 2 days in. I ain't running anywhere.
I'm just popping this up, guys, and I'll just read it to you. So, what do you do if you have a gift that scares the majority? And Anthony's saying, I hide my gift because it's far too much for mankind to handle. Have any of you been to Bluebell Hill?
No.
No, I don't know where that is.
No, I don't know what that is either.
No.
I was thinking Blueberry Hill came into my head there.
I was thinking that. I thought that, Shelley.
So, Anthony, I will say for you, Anthony, you should never hide what gift you have. You've been given it for a reason. Okay, so you should never hide it. If you need help with connecting to spirit, if you're not sure of your connection, then speak to somebody like myself or other mediums out there that have been doing it for a long time. But make sure you go to somebody reputable so they know what they're doing.
One of the most haunted roads in the UK.
See, I do more stuff in the US, you see, so.
And I'm surprised I've not heard of that as well.
Yeah.
I've heard about it, but it sounds that
We spent
like a
we
challenge
spent the whole night in Cannock Woods, and all we heard was people
partying.
drunk. That was it. So then the black-eyed children, we didn't never see them, did we?
No, but that was. I wouldn't mind having a look at Most Haunted Road.
I want to ask Liam, if that's all right, some questions. How are you doing, Liam?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Good, good. So, my lovely. So, I want to know about your experience with spirit. What's been your worst experience so far? Anything bad or not? Well, not bad, but anything of a negative nature?
Yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago. We were out investigating a private location, and we were at a point in it. There was a staircase, and there's a spirit known to walk up and down singing.
Yeah.
So we're standing there doing double blind spirit box, you know, and all of a sudden I'm getting this sense that somebody's walking right through me, back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, and then they stopped right in me and just stood there. And I'm like, oh, I can't take this anymore. I've had to actually pull myself out of that. It's just this overwhelming, as if somebody's in your space and you can't take it. They drain all the energy away from you and feel like you're going to collapse and throw up.
Yeah.
I was ill.
See, that's the time. That is the time that you need forms of protection to place upon yourself, because that should never physically happen.
No.
Okay, that should never happen. So just pop in a little bit of protection around yourself. Even if you just put yourself in a lead box at that time, it's just something that's over you and covering you and protecting you. So that sort of thing is important.
Yeah. My very first experience I ever had, obviously, was out in the competition at the abandoned castle, and we're in this kind of big kind of main room, and all the equipment was going off, and I started getting this stabbing pain in my right shoulder. Now at the point I just said I've got pain in my shoulder. Didn't mention what shoulder or anything, and there was a few people who were watching the live at the point. They said, I'm getting this overwhelming pain in my right shoulder. And I was like, that's the exact same pain. It felt as if somebody was behind me stabbing right into the back of my shoulder. And that's from there, honestly, from there, that's when I got hooked. I was like,
did you feel that they were possibly trying to show you how they passed? What happened to them?
Yeah. I can't exactly remember the question that was being asked at the time, but it would have probably been something along the lines of, can you tell us how you passed away? Because it's something that's normally asked, and I said then I started feeling this overwhelming pain, which after we left that room was gone. Didn't feel it again the rest of the night.
Was that the same location we were at, Liam, together?
No.
That rules out my next question.
No, I don't mind letting them feel, or letting them show me how they've passed and let me feel it. But I make it about that, as Lee was saying, there's a boundary. They stay. They stay where they are. They don't follow me.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm kind of the same as Lee. I don't ground myself, but I put that boundary out. You stay here. You don't follow me. You can show me everything and make me feel how you feel, but that's it. That's all you get.
And quite often, just having that positive and strong mind can be enough.
Yeah.
You know, it is a form of protection because you're strongly putting it out there. You know, I think that's important. Did you ever experience anything when you were a child?
Not that I really remember. I mean, we were always told at my mother's house that I think one of the previous tenants had passed away in the house. And you always know how small children and animals are very susceptible to obviously seeing beyond what we can. And I was told that I used to stare up the top of the stairs, and then we had pet cats that used to stare up the top of the stairs. And from what I learned, she supposedly fell down the stairs as she passed away.
Oh, bless.
So I was told that I used to stare, but I don't remember. I was obviously too young at the time. But no, that was really my main. Always kind of a wee bit sceptical, obviously. Like you've got that feeling life can't just end.
Mm.
Two intelligent beings for life just to cease. So
Well,
it's
that's
got
just it, because a
something.
soul can never die. You know, that's just it. It has to go somewhere, and that's what, you know. Whether you find that soul from that, who knows? You know, that's it. Just does. It happens, and they can't possibly die.
It'd be a shame if, like, the odds on you being born are, and the amount of time that we live, which isn't a very long time, but just on the odds of you being there and being born, that's it. At the end of it, you're gone.
Mm.
And I really hope that's not the case, because that's the question that's the only reason I'm doing it. I just want to know, is the life after death finished?
I will tell you
I'd
something.
see proof of it, and that I'm good.
I'm
But
in the
then,
middle.
so have people since the 1800s been trying to find that question, and nobody's proved it. Nobody's answered it.
I'm in the middle of editing.
Not that I've seen, anyway. Nobody's.
You two need to come out. Lee and Sarah, you guys need to come out with me.
I would be interested in doing that, actually, because yeah. But I'm in the middle of editing The Witch's House at the minute, and if you'd asked me 3 years ago about SB7, I would have told you it's a load of codswallop, and well, I couldn't explain it, and I still can't explain it. And we've had some bloody good stuff and full sentences out of it. And I could sit here and play you our spirit box for 2 hours, and I can absolutely guarantee we won't get one radio station, not one blip come through. Right?
And you better shut your mouth.
And we get like you
a
better shut your
sentence.
mouth. But I'm doing this Witch's House, right? And I say on camera, oh my God, Lee. Lee says something like, I mean, don't quote me for this, because obviously it's a while ago now since I've listened to it, but he says something like, what's my name? And there's a man that's got a Scouse accent, and he comes through all the time, to the point now where I'm going to compile all the audio files that I've got over the last 3 years with this Scouse man's voice on the spirit box, and I'm going to see if I can get it sent off to an expert to see if I can compare his voice and get it verified. He comes through and says, "You're right, Lee." And within a few seconds, somebody says Lee, and I said to Lee, "Oh my God, that sounds like your nan." And we've listened to it back, haven't we?
Don't show it to me mum.
Don't show
her, because it'd break her up.
And that's the first time we've had our surname come out through that spirit box. Lee's had a question where he said, "What's your name? Where'd you come from?" Jay Mexico's come back out. We've had, like you said, "You better shut your mouth." That was the Scouser. That was the Scouser one that come through. It says that. So we've had all that, but that was really interesting, because it's difficult, and you'll probably know that when you're on location, it's when you get back to the editing and you're reviewing the footage that you hear load of stuff, you know, that you didn't hear on location. But when I play that back, it sounds like his nan.
We give Lewis the headphones, and we won't ever say we'll just say, "What do you hear, mate?" Rather than put a word in his head, we'll say, "What do you hear, mate?" And he went, "Oh my God, it says Lee twice."
Yeah.
Like, wow.
In fact, they sound like, and that was.
So I've just put this up, guys. I don't know if with my team, I've investigated the Skirridin in Wales. It's a fantastic place. So I don't know if you guys have ever been, but say again, sorry.
Rocky, the other the other lad in our team, he's done it. I think he stayed there with his partner. Yeah.
Well, we did the same, and we had a team over from Holland that were investigating. They came over specially to investigate with us, and it was such an interesting place, because like I walked in, and I said to the landlord, I said, "Hold on," because obviously they have a noose hanging down the centre of so that you've got a staircase that's going up spirally, and they've got a noose there. Obviously, it's not the original one, but I said to him, I said, "Right, do me a favour." I said, "That is not the original place." And he said, "Can you tell me where it is?" I said, "So right." We went back outside, and as you go in behind the inn, there's a little archway as you go into the car park at the back. And I just went there. And he said, "You're spot on." And it's exactly where they used to hang the people, you know. And it's just, that is, if you ever get to do one, do the Skirridin, because it's amazing. It's fantastic. I loved it there.
Sam, what about obviously talking about the audio? That leads on well to what the next question is for David, was being the EVP ninja, with Lee and Sarah talking about audio. Yeah. I know personally that David gets some amazing EVPs, like absolute crazy EVPs.
we've had some unbelievable stuff, especially the last location.
I was going to say, David, that last one. Wow.
Some of the stuff just blows away.
David, do you think you're a little bit of a magnet for these EVPs?
Probably.
some people do get more, because one of the teams I work with, Spirit Crew Australia, and Ange and her team, they get absolutely all sorts of activity, especially with EVPs, you know, and I think some people are like magnets, you know, and they just attract more to one person than they would to the next.
Possibly.
Do you feel like that's with you?
Yeah, well, especially in the last location, because I've been looking for answers for years in there, so maybe that's why.
Especially if it's a response to a question, I find that fascinating. Like if you've asked an out and out question that can't be, and it comes back with an answer, you're like scratching your head, like, well, okay then, maybe that's.
Honestly, you need to hear these.
Yeah, you should visit the page. Definitely.
David,
you get a good few on your.
Sorry, is this a location you said you've done for years? You've been there a few times that you got these.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe you're drawn to that location?
No, actually working it.
Oh, right, okay.
So you are drawn to it then?
Yeah.
A bit more than drawn.
There was one particular morning that I got an interest in EVP. I was just walking around opening up, and I thought, I could just run my recorder while I'm walking around. And I actually got a gunshot, and you hear somebody reacting to the gunshot.
Wow.
Right, Rigger, you heard it?
Clear.
Aye. Yeah.
David, what was the one that where it was it step away for the glass?
Oh no, I says, can you touch the ball? Can you touch the ball that's in the glass? And it's just was it shut up.
Aye, and it wasn't. Aye, but that's not.
That was the first one, but there's another one that says, "Can you touch the ball?" And it says, "Don't ask me that."
Aye, but remember, there was another one where it was like it wasn't even us asking the question.
Aye,
we were mimic.
You and Kaylee were talking, and you were talking about the REM pod, and then you says, "I'll ask a question." Next minute, this man's voice came in and says, "Did you question her?"
Did you question her?
Did you question her?
I think the best one that I've heard one of the best ones that you got, David, was at another private location, and it said it came through, and it was quite a broad Scottish posh accent, and it said the cow with the dodgy telephone.
It was smashing that one.
The what? The cow with the dodgy telephone?
Yep, clear as day. Clear. Oh, and the last time at that private location, David, we got the dog. Remember there was a dog barking?
Yes. And then you got also the other one saying, "Ask him, son."
Ask him, son.
Aye.
Absolutely. And it's mind blowing.
You could go to the
Hey, Andrea.
Hi.
What recorder's that on? What do you use?
I use two. I use the Panasonic DR60, and I also use the Olympus SW852. I think it's.
We've got Olympus, haven't we?
That's just a recent one.
Two Olympus. Yeah.
It's actually okay. It's quite good.
Yeah.
You prefer your Panasonic, though, don't you?
Oh,
aye. That's my baby.
See the price of them? They're about $3,000.
Yeah.
Oh my lord!
It's ridiculous, the price of some of these.
It's because it gets put out on TV, and then everybody seems to think that particular model. That's the key. Then that's exactly how he speaks to Spirit. You have to have the DR60, and then the price just goes to the roof. Because nobody else can communicate with Spirit without one of them, can they?
No.
Not if you see it on TV. And then
I think that's the thing as well, and one of the big things is I like to do the natural approach. Obviously, yes, I do connect with Spirit as a medium. However, a pen and paper or pencil and paper on a tripod, dangle the pencil, have it just touching the paper, let Spirit lead it. You know, things like that. Analog recordings. That what you get from the old school, as people call it now, natural things can be
Just
so
your
much
senses.
better than all this tech.
Of course it does. Just your own senses, like we always say, we've got REM pods and we've got this, that, and the other, but we can't, just because that goes off at that particular time, we can't say, oh yeah, that's Granny's ghost doing that. You know, that's that.
What we do now is we'll set 3 devices up within a couple of meters of each other, and then if that goes off, and then go to that, and that goes off, then I'm interested. But if that REM pod goes off, to be honest, it doesn't even bother me anymore. REM pod going off,
not without other validation.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
We did an interesting experiment. We went rigger with the ball and the glass.
Yep.
On 2 separate occasions. And in one location, they managed to light the ball up that was in the glass. But in the last location, they couldn't.
Yeah. We did that originally. We had like a plastic box, didn't we? And we did a sleepover, and I said to the boys,
we didn't even know it was going off.
Why don't we put something over it so that because we were saying maybe it's window, so we put something over it and it's going off on it. Yeah. So that's really good. You can put just those little things, you know, make a big difference, don't they? Like,
tell you what I do with them as well. I get blue tack them in so they can't, because I've stripped them apart and the sensors inside are so like unbelievably sensitive. Like they'll go off at the slightest little vibration or thingy. And that I started doing now is blue tacking them into like an antique car and just leave the car there and let it stay. And to be honest, it's not. I don't even think it's gone off since we've done that, has it?
I don't know.
I want to ask Rigger a question. So, Rigger, have you ever done sensory sensory deprivation? Have you ever tried that?
No.
What about any other guys? Have you tried it at all?
I haven't. I want to. I would love to try sensory deprivation.
It's such an amazing. I was just because I wasn't sure if you had or not, and it's such a good way, because obviously, that's what it is. It's sensory deprivation. You're taking away the sight, you're taking away the hearing, you know, and it's. The other guys that I also work with, Night Watchers Paranormal Australia, they do a lot of sensory dep, and Pete, who's one of the guys, you know, he will sit in the chair and he will have the headphones on where he just literally, and it's the noise cancelling one, so nothing can be heard. And yeah, David Marshall, that's true, it is fantastic. And obviously you've got blindfold over, and you literally are sat, he sits with like a K2, or he'll sit with a recorder, you know, and the questions will be asked by Dan, and he has no idea what questions are being asked.
We do.
But what then happens is it'll coincide that something they get an answer, and then Pete will get tapped on the shoulder, and Dan has asked them to tap Pete on the shoulder, and he'll feel it, you know. So it's such a good way.
We tried it in S.P.I.G, didn't we? But we were down in the underground and we couldn't get anything coming through on the S.P.I.G, and then we did.
The minute we plugged the headphones in, it worked as an antenna, and it just brought all the radio stations.
All the radio stations.
So we scrapped. To be honest, we scrapped that. But
we've never tried it like what you're saying, no, Sean.
We've done it not as in just sitting in the chair and somebody calling it. We'll run like the S.P.I.G Box and Necrophonic app through the earphones but we always put the ear defenders over as well. And then the blindfold. But so we'll do that, the blind S.P.I.G Box, but we'll also do a double blind S.P.I.G Box where we'll start. So if it was Liam and Kaylee, say, me and David will start asking questions, but what we do is we usually tend to run a live, but we'll stand close enough to the phone that the people on the live can hear us, but there's no way that David and Kaylee can hear us. They can't hear us anyway because you've got the ear defenders in the earphones and they're hearing the SD7 or the Necrophonic or whatever. But we'll ask questions and then we'll stop. And honest, you can ask Shelley and Sam, there's a time where it's like having a full-blown conversation with each other. And they might say, at one point, I think the first time Sam and Shelley was out with us, I think one of them said William and then the other one said Willie, like straight after it.
Yeah, we did,
which is good. We've done, we'll ask, as you said, with tapping in the shoulder, but what we've created and brought in to the double blind S.P.I.G Box is a thing called the Spirit's Eye. That we named it Spirit's Eye. So basically it's a sheet of paper, or David's got a wee whiteboards. So at some point, we'll write down a number, we'll ask if people want to live pick a number, any number. So the first number that comes out could be number 7. This person that's got earphones in, or the two that's got earphones in, don't know when this number's been wrote down. They don't know what the number is. It could be a shape, it could be a number. And then we'll start calling out with the spirit and see the responses. There was a 7 we got at a private location. Held it up, showed it about within about 2 minutes. The person with earphones and that in said number 7. We then changed it to a shape, which was a triangle, wasn't it? Was it a triangle?
It was a triangle.
I was the one who done it.
Aye, bear in mind, Liam doesn't know when this is getting done. Liam came out and said triangle.
That was amazing that night.
But what we do is we've started a sorry for rabbiting on here. We started another experiment called the Pender Box. So I don't know if you've heard or if you've seen of the human pendulum.
Yeah.
So it's basically a human pendulum where your senses is gone. The person in the middle senses are gone. Usually I've seen teams where the human pendulum, the person's in the middle, you've got obviously somebody at the front, somebody at the back, the person calling out is pointing in directions. But the person in the middle can hear and they can see. So we took all these senses away.
Yeah.
And they don't know when the question's asked, they don't know what the direction is. Again, we've had some really intelligent responses. We'll point to yes. Again, if it was Liam in the middle, sometimes Liam will lean and he'll respond with yes and he'll lean in the direction where yes is, vice versa. No, he'll respond with a no and he'll go to the direction where the no is. It's things like that. It's just to take away the whole sentence.
Because obviously a lot of people will then, like you say, if they can hear and things, they'll start. It's not obviously I've seen human pendulum done so many times. I'm like, it just doesn't sit with me because anybody can just go like this. You know, it's like
as well.
It's natural for that to happen. But doing it that way is so interesting, you know, because like you say, you're taking all the sensory things away from them and they've no idea. So it's very similar to sensory depth. Well, it is sensory depth anyway, isn't it, really?
What we've also tried a couple of times, I don't know how you feel on the Ouija board and stuff. I know a lot of people are against it and there's certain ways to do it and stuff like that.
It's just a tool. It's just a tool. If people abuse it like they do with any of the equipment, attachments can go to equipment, you know.
We also do that. We also do that blindfolded. So people are participating in it. They're blindfolded. They can't see their fingers on the planchette. It shows in that people are watching. Kind of go, oh, you've moved that yourself. Because I know teams and I know people, and I'm sure you will know as well that 100% they move the planchette. It comes out eventually. They fake the planchette. So we've took the senses away, the visual senses. And there's been a time where we've asked the spirit we're in contact with to move the planchette to yes. Now bear in mind, I think it was me, Liam and Kaylee on the Ouija board, and the planchette went to yes. And I'll tell you right now, see if you try it, the planchette, you lose all senses of direction. It could feel like the planchette is slightly moving, but it's actually going quick. You don't know what direction it's going. Your finger ends up kind of coming off, you need to put it back on. And that's a really interesting one to try because honestly, it's just things like that. Because I go on my wee way all the time when I'm investigating. I start getting excited, as you can tell. But it blows my mind, and I'm sure it blows the team's mind as well when things like that happen.
And I think people talk a lot about the mobile phone to mobile phone connections now, where we have a mobile phone in one room and you'll take the other one in the other room and ring that one and somebody answers it and leaves it going, so I think like it's quite good to embrace lots of new different ways of doing things, because there's so much. There's lots of technology out there, but there's also ways of learning how to connect with spirit more so now than just with technology, and it needs to be embraced. So all these different methods I think are amazing. You've got to try them at the end of the day, haven't you?
Well, I think at the end of the day that the best thing that you can use is your own senses. Personally, we don't use mobile phones on any location because even on flight mode we've done months and months.
We research a lot. We do a lot of research on equipment and everything.
Even flight mode has
a lot of things.
Yeah, flight mode has an effect on your equipment, on your K2s, on your REM pods. like just saying just that, or somebody can be standing there and be getting a message even on silent, and that has a
Microphones, walkies.
Definitely.
Even a camera, even a GoPro can affect a REM pod in it.
So I think that if you're aware of that as a team, then that's fine. But then you've obviously got the other side of the fence, especially on YouTube.
They're all good tools if you control the way they're being used and try and eliminate any outside influence.
Prime example, we went to a castle, and again I think Shelley and Sam, it might have been the time we use our ways, and the motion ball and the REM pod was going constantly, so we were like, right, hold on. So we were asking questions, and then it was going, while we were talking amongst ourselves. But we put the torch on it, and it turned out it was a mouse. There was a mouse that was going between the ball and the REM pod. So it's things like that. Again, that's why the glass, we've tried the glass. Like, we'll put the ball on the ground, and we'll put the glass over the ball. And that'll come in handy. We've only done it a couple of times, but it'll come in handy for abandoned locations or like that, because of the sake of mice and stuff like that. So that'll kind of hopefully it'll debunk the whole situation.
Which is why we did it in the first place with the plastic case over the top, because like you say, especially abandoned locations, you've got mice, you've got wind, you know, so that's why we did it. We've had mice knock off the music box, the laser grid, didn't we?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
that particular time that Liam Rigger was talking about there, when the mouse was setting off the REM pod, I had set off a locked off camera while we were doing a session in the other room, and once we completed that session, I went back through, picked up my stuff, realised my video had switched off, got all my stuff together, went downstairs, looked at my camcorder, and I thought, yuck, what is that in my camera? And so we were having a debate on what this was. So I managed to get a stick and take it off the camera, right? Very gruesome. I thought it was like entrails, like it was horrible. And so it wasn't till we left about 2 o'clock in the morning, didn't we, guys? And halfway home, I ended up with a burst tyre. So we were spent all night at the side of the road waiting for the breakdown recovery. So while we were sitting camped up at the side of the road, I thought I might as well just go and have a look at my camcorder and see why it was switched off. It turned out that a mouse decided to scurry itself in, and the night vision could see its wee eyes. His eyes were lighting up. It was scurrying around. It had went over to my REM pod, set my REM pod off, knocked my REM pod over, didn't even set it off, went over, played with the cat ball, made it light up, and then came over to my locked off camera and, excuse me, but shit in my camera. Which caused it then to switch off. But you know, it was really fascinating because we were able to debunk. You know, it was
going on at the back of the room, and we couldn't understand how it was going off as much. And
it's important, isn't it, though, debunking anyway, you know?
It was so funny, but oh my god, it just shows you though anything can happen. It's not always paranormal.
Guys, unfortunately, we're going to have to bring tonight to a close because I have to be up early in the morning. But thank you so much, guys, for joining us, to David, Lee and Sarah, to Rigger and to Liam for joining us this evening. I'd just like to ask if you could let people know where they can find you. So if we go with Lee and Sarah, and then we'll go to Rigger, if that's okay.
Yeah, so we're on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. And it's
not Facebook, we don't use Facebook.
Well, we are on Facebook. You can find us on Facebook.
I don't like Facebook.
You're on Facebook. Anyway, Spirit Vision Paranormal Research, you'll find us. He only likes Instagram because he doesn't know how to work Facebook.
I've just deleted 3,000 followers on Facebook. Just can't. Trying to root out there's some really proper nasty people on there that leave like nasty messages, and I know it's other people. Anyway, pretending to be somebody else, but. That's it.
I think that's most social media platforms, isn't it?
I'll kept it now to just our.
Yeah. And Rigger, would you like to let everybody know and any events you've got coming up as well?
Yep. We are on Facebook. We've got 2 groups. they're called the same. Scotland's Paranormal Investigation Group. There's a public and there's a private as well. We've also got a group, Paranormal Hangover, where that's on Facebook. What it basically is, it entails we'll go out and investigate most Saturdays, and we'll do the Paranormal Hangover on the Sunday, just to give an input of what's been going on the investigation. Instead of, it used to be I would write a description out and explaining it, so we thought this would be a good way, get to meet new people, they can kind of get involved and basically hear all about our investigation the night before, so to speak. But just like you mentioned as well, we're still on the hunt to bring in a new investigator, so if there's anybody based in Scotland that's on this or that, feel free to give me a message, or if you feel you're interested to come out one night, give me a message, we can get you out, get you a good experience, meet the team. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy yourself, get a laugh, as long as you buy dinner.
Chinese.
But we're taking a break for a couple of weeks, and then we're back at it. We've got a couple of abandoned locations we're looking at as well. We're returning to a private location where we're doing a day stroke night time investigation, just to see if the activity is different from the day to the night, or if it might help. The person we're going to, he's looking after some real answers, so we're going to kind of go and concentrate on certain spirits, but it'll be daytime stroke night, then we're going for there. So we'll just go with the flow and see what happens.
Fantastic. It's been an absolute joy having you guys, and thank you for joining us this evening. I'll just ask that you hold there once I've finished the live, if that's all right, guys. Thank you to everybody in the comments for your questions and your views. We embrace everyone's views because it's important, because everybody has different, things happening around them with spirit, different investigations. So thank you ever so much, guys, for joining us this evening. We are back in a week's time. We will put the ad up for the date and everything, who we've got coming on. But it's lovely to see you folks, and thank you ever so much for joining us. Good evening to you all.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.